Florida Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz has been selected by the president to be the next chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee. Congresswoman, good morning to you and congratulations on that.
Good morning, Matt. Thank you very much.
Let me talk about tone, because one of your jobs is going to be to set tone and agenda for the Democrats over the next several years. When you listen to the speech that the president gave on Wednesday with those Republican leaders who came up with their own budget proposal sitting right in front of him, did he seem like a guy who was looking for cooperation to solve this nation's debt problems, or a guy looking for confrontation?
Well, I think that he approached it as a grown-up would, and that's what we all are. We all have to approach the serious problems that our country is facing as grown-ups. We have to recognize, as the president laid out, that we have a dramatic contrast between the way the president envisions trying to address our budget deficit and turn the economy around and focus on job creation and not short-circuit our economic recovery, and the direction that the Republicans have proposed, which is to balance all of the sacrifice on the backs of our seniors, on the backs of our frail elderly, and people who are struggling in America.
But specifics here, though, when we talk about Medicare,
that's what he laid out.
When we talk about Medicare, for example, the president flatly rejected the Republican plan to privatize it and turn it into a voucher system for people under the age of 55. He said he wants to lower the cost of Medicare by lowering the cost of prescription drugs and eliminating waste. Now, I haven't heard a politician in the last 2 decades say anything but, we want to eliminate waste. Is it a wish, or is it a real concrete plan?
Well, the president said much more than just those 2 things. He talked about making sure that we can get a handle on the overall cost of health spending, which was not included in the Republican plan at all. He wants to make sure that we can reduce Medicare spending, make sure that we use the Independent Payment Advisory Board that is existing in law from the Affordable Care Act to really get a handle on the overall cost of Medicare and slow its growth rate. Make sure that we can look at Medicaid and get rid of the different match rates. There's 50 different match rates for every single state in the country. Have one simplified rate. That'll bring down administrative costs for the states and make sure that we can reduce the overall cost of Medicaid, and also engage in revenue cuts so that we can make sure that we bring down the growth of discretionary spending, and even included a debt fail-safe trigger so that if we don't reduce the overall rate of growth according to our GDP, that we would have automatic across-the-board spending cuts. It's a real, comprehensive, detailed proposal.
You mentioned revenues a second ago. On the subject of taxes, the president drew a line in the sand. He said about the Republicans' plan, there's nothing serious about a plan that claims to reduce the deficit by spending $1 trillion on tax cuts for millionaires or billionaires. He said he would not renew the Bush-era tax cuts. The Republicans already said that a tax hike is a non-starter. Here's the president saying cutting those taxes, keeping those taxes on the wealthiest Americans low is a non-starter. Where do you go on this?
Well, Matt, I look at the president's proposal as a mom with 3 young kids who is really concerned about our looming budget deficit. And I understand, like I think most Americans understand, that in order to make the long-term future of our country secure, shared sacrifice is going to be necessary. It's wrong, as the Republicans have proposed, to ask 33 seniors each to pay an additional $6,400 in Medicare and give $200,000 more in tax breaks to the wealthiest Americans.
So can you find compromise here?
We are ready for compromise. The president has asked, it's not a commission, the president has asked the leadership to bring Republicans and Democratic members of Congress around the table with the vice president in May when we come back and sit down and hammer this out. We were able to compromise in the continuing resolution on Friday for 2011. Everybody, including folks on this show, thought we were at the brink of government shutdown, and the president helped negotiate a rational, reasonable compromise.
Confident. Before I let you go, the campaign for the president kicks off tonight, the 2012 race. There are some reports, and you're going to be in charge of raising a lot of this money, there are some reports, Congresswoman, that the president could raise $1 billion, that's with a B, $1 billion. Given what we're talking about here, cutting spending, everybody cutting back, how do you think the American people are going to feel about a campaign that possibly costs $1 billion?
Well, President Obama, in his 2008 campaign, raised the most amount of money from small donors of any presidential candidate in history. He has been focused on grassroots outreach, and that is the kind of campaign we're going to run again in 2012. And I think that this is going to be the most robust, participatory campaign that we've ever seen in America.
All right, Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Again, congratulations on the new position.
Thank you very much.